Normally my videos are just building a physical project here in the shop, but for this video I thought I'd change it up and show you really behind the scenes and go step by step of what really goes into doing some custom client work, just to show you my process and things I've learned and give you a different perspective. Like I said, I'm going to go completely step by step, so just to catch you up, the only thing that's happened so far is about 2.5 weeks ago I got a text message. It's 2025, most projects are going to start with a text message nowadays. And this is actually a repeat client, and I'll go over that more in a minute, but I got a text about 2.5 weeks ago explaining what they were looking for. You know, she said, no rush, whenever you can get to it. And I said, okay, in about 2 to 3 weeks, I'll get a hold of you and we'll go from there. You know, I had other projects to finish up, and this is gonna be a relatively quick one that I knew I could squeeze in here. So lesson right there, do what you say you're gonna do. I said I'd get a hold of her in 2 to 3 weeks. I'm right in that timeline and we're going from here. So this project is for one of those built-in haul trees, you know, with a bench and shoe storage and coat hooks. You've all seen it, that type of thing. So once you figure out the project, step 2 is you have to ask what their budget is. When you're first getting started with client work, that can be kind of intimidating just to instantly talk about money, but you have to. It's as simple as that. Mainly you just want to weed out the people that, let's say on a $1,500 project and they say their budget's $500, that's pretty far off. 500's maybe not even going to cover materials. So you just really want to weed that out, and before you're wasting your own time or their time. You know, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it if it's just we're nowhere near close of what's realistic for the project. So and it can be as simple as that. All you got to do is say, did you have a budget in mind for this? And go from there. In this case, she actually made it really easy for me in her initial text message. She told me what their budget was, and she even used the wording, or as close as possible, which is, I mean, like I said, she made it super easy, and it shows me there's a little wiggle room if need be. At this point, I'm ready to go to their house. It's about 20-25 minute drive to put my own eyes on the project and take my own accurate measurements. Of course, this is going to change depending on the project. Of course, on a remodel job, or in this case, it's a built-in to fill a certain space. Like I said, I want to see it for myself, take my own measurements. I've got a 6-foot level just to see how straight and plumb the wall is. A notepad and a tape measure, that's all I need. So let's go ahead and go take some measurements. All right, I'm back from getting measurements, and right away that was worthwhile. She had originally said the wall where this is going is about 4 feet wide. Turns out it's over 5.5 feet wide, so I can make this a lot bigger than I was originally thinking. So that goes to show you, getting your own measurements is important. But up next, I'm going to hop on the computer and go ahead and do a 3D design. I think 3D design is such an important tool when it comes to customer work. Nothing gets lost in translation. The client can actually see it and sign off on it, and just everyone's on the same page. So as you can see, I went ahead and modeled this whole wall where this haul tree is going to go. There's a hallway that goes back this way, and then there's stairs that go up and behind this wall where the haul tree is going to go. And really the only question I had is, as you can see, this existing wall is already shiplap, and I'm assuming behind like the coat hook area, I'm assuming we're going to leave all this visible, but I don't know that for sure. That's really the only question I have. And next up, now we can go about this 2 different ways. This is basically exactly what she described to me in the original text. We have a bench, we have the coat hooks, cubbies up top, and she expressed interest in just having shelves underneath the bench for shoe storage. So I can either just, no problem, we'll build it exactly how she wants, it's within budget, easy peasy. Or I can use my knowledge and experience to maybe offer another solution that I think could be better. So when I think about these shelves, and they want this painted white, and with shoe storage, I can see this getting pretty dirty looking pretty fast. And then you put some liner on the shelves or something like that if you had to. But just with shoes, I feel like it's going to get dirty pretty fast. And then this is pretty deep. So really, like, you can reach a shoe here on the front, but if you have shoes behind it, you're going to be down on your hands and knees and having to reach back and get shoes that are maybe in the back of the bench here. So another option that I had is to go ahead and make some drawers that you can pull out. Of course, the benefit here is a lot cleaner look. You don't have to visibly look at the shoes all the time. They're hidden away. And then I took it a step further from there, and then inside the drawers, I came up with this idea here. We'll leave one, these are pretty big drawers, so one we'll just leave one completely wide open for bigger boots and shoes and stuff. And then this is just a rough general design idea just to see if she's even interested in it. But in the other one, I can make like these vertical dividers And like all these dividers will be movable. So like, you know, if you have flip flops, it'll take up less space, or wider shoes, you can move these dividers and then store the shoes vertically. This will be so much easier. You just pull the drawer out. You don't have to move a pair of shoes to get to another one. They're all easily accessible, and it's a lot more efficient use of space. You'll be able to store a lot more and have easier access to them. Okay, I sent off those 2 designs, and I already know, you know, it's the middle of the day right now. She's at work. She's gonna have to get home, talk to her husband tonight. She's got kids to take care of, dinner. I already know I'm not gonna hear back about this until maybe 8 or 9 o'clock tonight. So I'm trying to get everything, all my ducks in a row and all my questions that I have. So the next thing I wanna do is when it comes to the bench top and the top cap, this is really gonna change depending on the client. Of course, you're gonna have some really picky ones that know exactly what they want. And then honestly, you're just gonna have some that they don't care. So when it comes to this wood for those, if they want some walnut, that's when we're gonna have to increase their budget a little bit. It's just, it's expensive, that is what it is. But I have some oak on hand, so I'm gonna go ahead and do maybe 2 or 3 stain samples. And so I have these ready that I can send off as well, so we can get this finalized to make sure we can stay in their budget. They just want something, a hardwood that's durable. The color is in line with what they're wanting. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple samples ready. You know, as a business owner, you know, some people might think, oh, you can just work whenever you want, but really you have to be prepared to always be available to work. You know, I have a family and kids as well, so I'm gonna try to get all this finalized tonight, you know, get a deposit and a final design. And like I said, it might be 8 o'clock tonight when I wanna be with my family and kids, so I wanna have all this ready, so maybe all I have to do is fire off some text messages and get all this done. And of course, this is a pretty simple project, so getting this finalized relatively quick shouldn't be that big a deal, but you know, on bigger remodel jobs, this back and forth stage of the process, this could take days or weeks to get all this finalized, but really it just depends on the project. All right, it's the next day and I was right. It was pretty late in the evening last night before I heard back, but that's all right. She loved my idea for the drawers. We're gonna use the oak for the bench top and the top cap, so everything's finalized. Now we can move on to making sure all of our materials are here and we get started building. And I'm not gonna dive super in deep with pricing, but just going to get measurements, the design time, procuring all the materials. This is all stuff you gotta keep in mind when it comes to an overall price for a project. I don't keep plywood on hand, so I'm getting ready to run up to Menards to get 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood. I do have some 1/4 inch plywood here, plenty for the drawer fronts and then those dividers within the drawer, so I don't have to buy any of that here. And I also have, like I said, I had some oak on hand, I just happened to, but I always have poplar and maple on hand, you know, for face frames and these drawer fronts. I already have that here, and that's for a few benefits. With my hardwood supplier, the more I buy, the cheaper it is. So I'll buy a few hundred board feet at a time and get it at a cheaper rate. So of course the benefit there is it's cheaper. It doesn't mean, you know, it's free for this project, I already paid for it. Basically, I'm selling it to the customer for this project, but I got it at a cheaper rate. And the budget's already set for this project, so the less I spend is the more I'm gonna make on this project, and it's better for the overall bottom line. And also, I already have it here, so it saves driving time, having to go buy it. It's already dry and acclimated to my shop, so just several benefits for me to keep these woods that I use a lot already here. When it comes to hardware, really all I need for this project is 2 pairs of drawer slides and 2 drawer pulls, and then the 4 coat hooks. I've shared this tip before in the past, but let's say you need 6, 7, 8 drawer slides for a project. It's almost always cheaper to buy a 10 or 12 pack and you have extra when you're done with that project and you have it on hand. I got lucky here. I have 2 pair of 22-inch drawer slides, which I'm going to use, and I actually have several of these drawer pulls already on hand. I didn't rip off a past client. It was the same price or cheaper, and now I already have it here. So this is one of those cases where I'm not going to have to spend this money on this project. So overall, I'm going to make more. All right, I'm back from Menards. You guys really need to like and subscribe so maybe someday I can hire someone to follow me around and make more cinematic videos. But I got my 2 sheets of plywood. They only had 2 black coat hooks in stock, and obviously I need 4. But this just proves my point that I was making a little bit ago. I think they had 2 different styles. They were either $3.20 or $3.50 uptown at Menards. Here on Amazon, I can get a 10-pack for $7.59. So if I were to buy 4 uptown, that would have been over $14. Here I can buy 10 for $7.59. I don't know if I'll ever use the other 6, but if I have a project where I need them, boom, I already have 6 of them here and they're basically free. Amazon Prime, they'll be here tomorrow, so can't beat that. At this point, all of our materials are either here or on the way, so I'm just gonna stop talking and go ahead and get to work. Like I said, it's a pretty basic project, so I'm just gonna shut up and let you enjoy some woodworking. All right, I still need to build the drawer boxes, but right now I want to go ahead and get these primed and painted just so it can sit here for at least a couple days and start curing before I try to load it up and go install it. And then while that's curing, I can just go ahead and build the drawer boxes and just spray those with some rattle can lacquer. But unfortunately, I got to run to Menards real quick. I have primer, but not enough. And also I want to get the shoe molding that's going to go around the bench, after I shim and get that leveled and installed. I'm gonna need shoe molding around the bottom, and I just completely forgot I would need that. That's the type of stuff I try to avoid when it comes to being as efficient as possible, but it just slipped my mind when we were getting all the other materials, but it's running Menards. While this stuff is drying, I'm actually gonna buzz over to their house real quick. On that shiplap wall right now with the paint that they used, you can see all the yellow knots bleeding through. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime that. I got some shellac primer. It's gonna block those knots from showing back through. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paint it with the same paint as everything else. So when it's all done, it's all gonna match and look great. While I'm on my way there, I thought I'd go ahead and follow up on how I got this client for this job. And like I said, it's a repeat customer. So going back to how I got the first job, it was only about 8 months ago. My wife got a message on Facebook. And now that I think about it, I honestly don't even know, but I think my wife went to high school with this husband and wife. You know, I don't know them, so they're not like good friends, but they're Facebook friends. So about 8 months ago, my wife gets a Facebook message, and they had just got new kitchen appliances, and it wouldn't work with their existing kitchen cabinets. They needed a lot of custom work done. But the lesson there is Facebook really works for marketing. You know, on my personal Facebook page, I don't post any of my work at all, really. I have a John Builds It Facebook page where I do my content deal. But as far as my personal marketing and stuff like that, I don't do anything. And honestly, I can probably think of maybe 3 times where my wife has posted some of my work. So just in that limited amount of that my wife has shared on Facebook, these people knew I did that type of work and reached out to her. So I fulfilled their need on that job. You know, I wish I would have did a video on it because it was a really cool project. Fulfilled their need on that one. You know, they were obviously happy with it, and not even 8 months later, they're reaching back out again for another project. That one was a lot bigger, but it just goes to show you that really I let my work do my marketing at this point. Let's say I get this one done, and you know, they have family and friends that come over, and now there's 2 projects of mine there, and they say, wow, that's nice, you know, who did this work? And then boom, they get my name and number, and just work continues to snowball from there. All right, it's install day. I'm all loaded up. A shout out to my dad. He offered help today. I think he might be bored, but I can move it by myself, but we have like 40-mile-an-hour wind today. So I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of his help and get that carried into the house to avoid any disasters with the wind carrying that big upper tower. But we're all loaded up, so let's go get it done. Following up a little bit later here before I get this video posted, I completely forgot to take a camera tripod. And to be honest, I don't really like to film inside of clients' houses anyway, but the install went smooth. You know, they followed up with me later that night. They loved it and I got paid. So, I mean, that wraps it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this different perspective video instead of just simply watching me build something, to really see behind the scenes of all the other stuff that goes into a project. Until next time, take care.